Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Youth Observations, or as we like to call it,
Yo!
And we are going to be discussing this week women. We are celebrating our women in keeping with International Women's Day that was March 8th. And we are at the AC Hotel. Don't forget to follow them on all social media platforms.
My name is Javante Webster, final year student at the University of West Indies.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Mullins. I'm a second year student in software engineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Onfer and I'm a second year history and archaeology student.
Hi everyone, I'm Saeed Bernard and I'm a first year number one in law student.
Alright, so the theme for this year's International Women's Day is I Choose to Challenge. And it's to help eradicate gender biases and help uplift and strengthen women. Two women are here. I'm going to ask you guys what you're choosing to challenge this year, or who you're choosing to challenge to help eradicate these gender biases that we may have.
Well, in the field in which I aspire to become someone or somewhat of a professional, which is archaeology or the discipline of anthropology, there tends to not be a lot of female archaeologists, and that's something I'm choosing to challenge. In the Caribbean, I want to be an established female archaeologist, and I also want to dabble into biblical archaeology in the Middle East. So those are some things that I want to challenge. I want to put out research. I want to be a fully established individual and academic by the time I'm about, 28? I think that's a good enough
Yes. That's like next year.
So that's what I'm challenging. Other things too, but we can get into that further on in the program.
I love that, Ashley. For me, I'm choosing to challenge. Well, firstly, I'm a software engineering student, and naturally, we know that tech is a male-dominated field. But what I would choose to say is I'm challenging the notion that women have to be one thing. Like you have to be this, whichever career profession it is, or that. I'm somebody who's very multidisciplinary, and so I believe that I'll be challenging the notion of just having to be one thing. So I'll be in software engineering. I'll probably be a documentary filmmaker. I'll probably be in leadership, maybe creating my own business or being an entrepreneur. I will pull from many different fields of study to make something that is new and innovative. So that's why I'm choosing to challenge.
Thank you for answering. So we are celebrating women and how far women have come. Going back to slavery days when women were seen as property, or they weren't allowed to vote and they weren't people or human, and now women are striving in society. Saeed, I'm going to ask you first. What are some of the accomplishments or some of the circumstances that women have fought against to become great?
I mean, you started off with saying it, the discrimination, gender-based discrimination, a particular job is for a woman versus a particular job being for a man. And now you don't only have women secretaries, you have women general secretaries, you have women executive secretaries, you have women CEOs. As a matter of fact, I think Jamaica has had a good trend when it comes to women. I believe 50% of our banks in Jamaica are headed by women, and that's good. If you look at politics, the speaker of our honorable parliament is a woman, the deputy speaker also a woman, right? You have women, again, we had a woman prime minister, and so the inroads that women have created, it's formed in such a way that it has sent a message that we are gone with the pre-industrial revolution sort of vibe where it was, we stay at home and you go out and work. We're here for the same opportunities, just as you are. And, Jamaica has created, legislatively at least, an environment where a woman teacher and a man teacher is getting the same pay. And so, those are things that we can't overlook, and it has worked really well in our country.
Alright, Javante, I'm going to ask you a question. Tell me a woman that you look up to and why.
Alright, in all honesty, I think, the person I don't know my mother, of course, Kadeen Miss Kitty Hilton. Like, she is the epitome of ladyhood. I've been admiring her ever since. Based on the community where I'm from, I knew her mother and stuff, so she kind of was able to help me out with some school facilities and all that. So we kind of developed that relationship over the years. Seeing that she has transcended, in entertainment, she's basically a juggernaut in the entertainment industry. Plus she did a law degree, she's moving into the field of law and all that. And I think that she just, I don't know, I'm really a fanboy for Miss Kitty still. Like, honestly, I'm really a fanboy for Miss Kitty. So yeah, she's one of the people I really, really look up to.
And we can just continue on the line, women that you look up to. In your field, probably it doesn't matter, just a woman that you look up to.
A woman that I look up to. I mean, I always tell my grandma still, every time people ask me this, because I've seen her just go through so much, and even,
Same.
if you guys see my background at home when I'm live on Instagram or so, and it's her paintings in the background, I just think she's so, again, multidisciplinary, a big brain, academic, but also able to transcend in these other fields. But mostly, I think her impact. If we're walking through whichever town or there, and I said, teacher, I remember you from, however long, you were kind to us, you were a good soul. So that's what inspires me.
Well, I share the similar sentiment. It's also my grandmother for me. I mean, I know of her going through some pretty difficult situations when she was younger, even having my mom and my aunt, and just knowing that she has been able to, overcome all of that and still being such a force to be reckoned with in my life and constantly praying for me and encouraging me. I really look up to her, and I hope that, I know for a fact that if I have half her strength, I'll be able to conquer the world. In addition to that, I'm also really a huge fan of Elsa Gavaya. She was a historian who really paved the way for teaching West Indian history in our high schools, in our universities, at a time when the field of history was predominantly male. So I really look up to her for doing that and just giving other female historians, such as, Vereen Shepherd and so on, the opportunity to shine and do what we do best.
Indeed. I mean, my two women, of course, my mother, again, that's just strength, how she grew me, the resilience, like, that is something that I admire and want to emulate. But in my field, I'm very, very, very fond of Valenita Roberts. QC, let me not forget the QC. But, and again, it has shown how women have made inroads. They are now Queen's Counsel, not only that, but, I mean, a very prominent dancehall entertainer has a serious case. And who does he call? A woman attorney, So, she has been very fierce with dealing with criticisms and all of that, and still very, very successful in her legal field. So I look up to that, I again want to emulate that as well.
What are some challenges that you think women still face today?
Clearly, there's several challenges, but I think one of the ones that really stand out to me is, and I think Daniel had mentioned it earlier, the fact that several women feel as though they have to be one particular thing, and as though they can't, diversify either their interest or their means of income or just how they choose to portray themselves in society. I mean, we have come a far way, but I feel like there is much more room for improvement, room for growth, room for basically a re-socialization of society. And earlier too, I wanted to mention too, the fact that women have been able to overcome these things and emerge in society is also testament to the fact that anybody can do it, because we also see that through, the improvement of possibilities and accessibility for women, men have also recognized that they can really do anything that they want to. So it's a twofold system, and I'm happy that everyone is benefiting from it, because I mean, once upon a time you'd have possibly a male being ashamed to say, he's a makeup artist or he is a nurse, but because women have decided we're gonna go out and we're going to try our best to enjoy the things that we have passion for, regardless of what society says we should do. Has done the same thing for men, which is really good. So
adding to that, of course, I'm in STEM. And I remember going to an engineering camp when I was in fifth form, engineering summer camp. And so we're in our group is only, I think, 2 or 3 females out of the entire group. So each of us is basically one female in each group, then that the subgroup that they subdivide us into. And I remember I was coding the robots, because I said, all right, cool, robot needs to get through the maze, and I'm there coding it. And the guys coming over, like, these are the coordinators, they're like, what do you mean the girl is coding? So you're looking at the guys like, we don't have no use, basically. And I also remember we had another project to do. We were supposed to build a bridge out of macaroni. And I sit down and listen to what the instructor was saying, and I write down and I said, all right guys, I think this is going to be the best shape for us to make in order for the bridge to be the strongest bridge out of everybody else own, etc. And the guys are basically ignoring it until the end, where they ended up using the idea I went to it, but another guy pitched it, and that is when they decided. Wow. And I was like, I said this 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, you get me? So I think it's almost, I don't even think it's intentional per se. I don't think them sit down and set out to say, we're going to push this girl one side and so on. I think it's just, I don't know if it's a macho, just natural. So I mean, I think it's natural still, but let's say natural. That it's almost like you have to prove yourself. Get me? So after I code it and the robot go through them say, oh, girls can code. All high school, every single program I wrote, I had girls can code flash across the screen because my teacher used to say girls can code and you need to get used to the real world where they will diminish you or put you down because you're a woman. I used to flash it. My password, the username, everything is girls can code, so you had to type it in over and over and over. So there are the two ways that you put up a resistance, but
Yes.
overall it's just I feel like you have to prove yourself, whereas other people don't have to prove themselves first. Them get that first chance, you know?
Alright, so we've come so far as a nation, but we have further to go. And I just want us to kind of have a discussion on some of the things that we can do to help strengthen or move forward in regards to celebrating our women and understanding that we're all equal. I don't know who wants to go first.
I mean, in general, obviously we see where it's multifaceted. It's psychosocial, it's sociocultural, socio-historical, it's even socioeconomic. So what we need to start doing, is having these conversations. And I don't mean necessarily at the very high academic level, which I probably shouldn't have used those words. But I probably don't mean there, but I mean basic conversations. You and your friend them sit and know, you just talk about, what is it that you like to see women doing, what is it that you notice, there are a little bit of challenges for them to do. How do you feel about it? Having these conversations and being very honest, very frank, very open. I mean, as youth, we talk about basically everything. So anything that we want to see change, better we start from the grassroots and make it happen.
Definitely. And, we also need to, again, it comes to that, but it's also, reculturing our young men in society to not see it as, oh, a woman is coming to take my place.
Right.
But more as, a woman is doing what she should have been doing from the get-go, right? And it's not a gender against gender thing. I think we need to get that together.
It's a person against person.
It's right. It's a person against a person, barring gender. I only think that really and truly the difference with gender when it comes to being in our fields is really and truly just our names. Our names, one has a male name, one has a female name.
Well,
but the capabilities, right?
Yeah.
The capabilities are the same.
Yeah.
The brain is the same. When it comes to thinking and being able to derive solutions. So I think we need to get that into our heads now. And I want to be at a place, especially here in Jamaica, where and I don't want anybody to misquote me on this. I want us to get to a place where having a woman prime minister isn't, oh my God, we have a second woman prime minister.
Or a guilt president.
Right. I want it to get to a place where, oh yes, that's a
Or the first black
because
female,
we're used
first
to
female
it.
president.
Because we're used to it, right? That's the place that I want us to get.
Yeah, and on that notion, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that sometimes it's really a socio-economic or a societal breakdown sometimes. But essentially, we kind of want to start from our children, you get me? So we're very like young men. I always say, and I'm a mother of a sister, and the way how I can see my father treating my mother is definitely the way how I want to move forward treating women, you get me? So in the household, that's where it starts. So essentially, I have to try and listen. She's not a chef, she's not a maid. She's not a personal chef. You get me? I say all the capabilities that you have, she has the capability as well. And teaching our young men to not see women as objects, as things that they should conquer. You get me? So see them as human beings. See them as people who are vying for the same post. You get me? That's why you said it should not be that. Even 10 years down the line, we're still like, oh my God, the first prime minister, a woman prime minister. 10 years down the line, oh, a woman get president. No, it's supposed to be a norm. It's something that we're accustomed to. You get me? So that's where I want us to go as a society.
But I also want to add that I think it was mentioned earlier where someone had said that we're the same. We're actually not, and I think that that's the beauty in it.
Mm-hmm.
We were not created to think the same way, to operate the same way, and that's why we actually need to work together, because there are certain things that you'd consider to be a man's strength and versus a female strength, but when you pull them together, the result is much better. So as I think Saeed had said, don't look at it as a female coming to take your job, but rather look at it as a female coming to enhance your capabilities and vice versa.
Or a capable person coming to take your job.
Exactly, because there are certain things, the truth is that there are certain things that women are just, keen towards and men are keen towards, and that's fine. That's fine. It's not a competition. In fact, it's supposed to be a place where, we both have the same goal. So we complement each other.
Which leads me to this question. Are you in agreement with parents giving chores to females separate from chores to males? So the girls must wash, the boys must bring out the rubbish. What are your thoughts on that? The girls must clean the house, the guys must...
Well, in honesty, no, I cannot speak from my perspective, because in my household that was never a thing. Because my parents, we had one sister and three. My parents had one girl and three boys. So essentially, in our household, we all had to take turns with everything. Because at the end of the day, our sister, she couldn't clean the house and all. No, so I actually, in my household, I was the chef, so I had to do all the cooking. My sister usually did well, all of us took to washing plates. So my sister normally would help my mother. My brother with cleaning, and my next brother, he'd be in charge of helping my dad in the yard. So essentially they kind of separated us, but it wasn't necessarily on gender. It's just based on our strengths. Because I love to cook, my sister like cleaning, my brother I like do outdoor stuff. So yeah, essentially as I said, doing things based on the interest and not necessarily based on gender. Because I don't think I'm interested.
I like what Javante has said, because I think it's important for whether female or male. There are certain life skills that you need to learn, and chores can help you with that, especially with cooking and cleaning and taking out this and that.
Because if you don't learn when you're young and you're 30-year-old man, you don't know how to
Exactly.
wash your shirt.
Exactly. So you need to rotate it so everybody gets a chance to do it.
People live on hall and like, if for instance you leave your house to go to university, you can't cook, you can't wash, you can't clean, all because your sister has to get all of the chores. No, you have to learn them life skills from them time.
Yeah. Sister must take out garbage. Lift up the garbage.
That's
and
true.
take it out. It might smell bad, but do it. Because at the end of the day, these are things that you don't.
So there is no it's a man's job or
No.
it's a female's
Right.
job.
And there's a difference between doing something that you like
Right.
as opposed to doing something just because you ought to.
Yeah.
Right? That's the difference. So I foresee that if I'm to get married later down in life, the DMs are open, guys. Just kidding. But if I'm to get married down in life, I think I'll be the primary cleaner because I like cleaning. As a matter of fact, I think well when I'm cleaning, and so a lot of the times when I need to get a solution, I draw for them up and I start sweep. And as a matter of fact, I
Sweep them out?
But you get the point. But I mean, at the end of the day, also I have a kick of OCD as well. So I am very has to be in spot.
I initially heard that was a female thing.
Exactly. This was a female thing, and there are a couple times, as a matter of fact, that people have visited my home, and they're like, wow,
Clean for a man's house.
exactly, clean for a man's house.
Yeah.
Things like that, like those labeling,
I mean-
destroy them, dismantle them.
Yeah, there's certain stereotypes that we have. Thankfully, they're still there.
You're nice for a boy?
Yeah. No, let me tell you, that's a real thing. People say, my apologies, I've actually said that to persons. Geez, I'll be writing nice for your boy, because typically we don't expect them to write well. But I mean, those are things that we can overcome, and I'm glad we're on the road to do that. Because personally, I mean, I am not like cooking for me is if I'm in a mood. Like I have to be in a mood. I have to feel good. I say, yeah,
Like a cook something.
Me love it.
Right? No, you said that to somebody, and because the first thing that they ask, is,
Can you cook?
can you cook?
Especially in let's start in a
To be honest,
Right?
I do that, because I can't cook.
Oh,
But it's not because you think it's with
No,
a female, but it's not food,
no,
yeah.
because I'm not ask if you can cook, but I'm not ask if you can clean. Because I'm not master.
Okay,
You get
right,
me? But I just love my belly, but I can't cook. So again, it's a need.
See, this is going to sound weird, but my favorite household chore is actually taking out the garbage. There's just something about the act of removing the garbage. You see, y'all are laughing because I was a boy.
It's how you said there's
That's just
something about
No, it's just something about taking out the garbage.
Let me explain. It's the fact that your house was dirty. It
I know,
has
it's
closed
clean.
up.
Oh,
You take it out, and the walk to the bin outside, you hear the birds, you feel the breeze. There's just something nice about it, but I won't necessarily be the first person to jump and say, no, I'm gonna go cook something. That's not me.
The cooking take time.
Yeah,
You
it's
have
not
to
right.
That's
set
why
aside a
you
whole
should
2-3
patience.
hours to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do a good meal.
So we can agree that it's everybody needs to learn to do the basic skills,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
also about what you prefer to do.
Interest.
Yeah.
Alright, so we've spoken a lot about how far we have come, how we are all contributing to getting rid of gender bias and to promote equality. Do you guys have any final thoughts on anything that we've discussed?
Well, all I can say is really, I think Jamaica is in a good place where that is concerned. women are all just the same place as us in society. So, as I've said before, it's the same thing. Where I want Jamaica to be though is where we legislatively, policy-wise, and socio-cultural-wise, psychological-wise, start to take into consideration the other things that women go through on a regular, like violence, domestic abuse. Those are things as well that needs to be dismantled inside the home. And so even though we are working on the corporate space, and the corporate space is more facilitating, we also need to take into consideration the fact that whatever happens in the home when it comes to women does affect their standing in corporate society. And so we need to tackle it from that primary sort of socialization. We also need to tackle it from how people grow their kids now, That's also primary socialization. Do you tell your daughter that, okay, you should go into these fields as opposed to, no, if your daughter wants to be an engineer, put on the hard hat and the hard boot, go for it. So those are things that I think, we can manage going forward and do better.
I think for me, one thing that I want to see really change, nationally, regionally, internationally, although international is a stretch, is for us to move away from the notion that this is some sort of a war, some sort of a competition between the genders. I find that it's very destructive. It doesn't get us anywhere. It does more harm than good, really. We need to get to a place where we can have male and females can have these conversations and reach to some sort of amicable solution. It can't be a case where, when we talk about women's rights, it's an issue of men should have nothing, or vice versa, because that's not the point. We just want a level playing field. We want equity. We might not be able to achieve equality, but equity is the goal, and I feel like that's where we have some confusion. So once we can start talking about the difference between the two, and then working actively towards equity, then I feel like we'll be at a good place in society.
So for me, I think I want to see us boosting kids from their young, right? So I think from their young, expose them to all of the different fields that they could be. And also it comes back to something Saeed said, when a woman is in either a big position or, doing whatever field, it should be, oh my goodness, a woman is here, like it should be something that is normal. Personally, when I'm doing some interviews and people come with that, like I'm waiting for the woman question. What is it to be a young woman that is so successful right now? So I'm like, well, I'm just a person, you get me? I understand why they ask it, right? But at the same time, I'm like, I would love to get to a point where that's not even a question to be asked. So I would love to see it implemented from very young, just boosting them, especially working on their self-esteem. I find that young people overall in Jamaica have low self-esteem, in my opinion, starting out. I think we can be boosted more and be more empowered to be change makers in society.
Yeah, and Saeed kind of really hit the hammer on the nail. For me personally, in the corporate world, we've seen that we've made a lot of strides, with regarding the equitable distribution and whatever. But for me personally, I want us as men to take care of our women. You get me? I say, for instance, I know a lot of women, they go to police stations to report abuse and the police them ignore them. Go to police stations to report sexual harassment, rape, and they're ignored. I want us to take care of our women. Again, I want us to provide an environment conducive for them to grow. Not fight them down, not tear them down in the whole souls and be like, you should be my submissive, I should always be, over you. Give them a room to grow, give them a room to speak, give them a room to be themselves and to actually achieve what they are set out to achieve.
Alright, guys, so we spoke about a lot, and in all in all, we can say we are striving for equity. Everybody giving equal opportunities so we can all strive and so we can all grow as a nation. We've gone far, but there's further to go, and we're all, as young people, willing to help push and help to let us grow. Thanks again for coming, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, walk good. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Jamaica Observer.